What's up, everybody? Mark with Kardavox Academy here, and we are going to try something different. We're going to try a lightning intro. I myself am a vocal coach specializing predominantly in harsh and distorted metal styles, false chord, fry, screaming, belting, all that good stuff, although I do a lot of clean singing as well. I'm the vocalist in 3 bands, Kardashev, Neverbreath, and Viremia, Kardashev being the most active currently. On this channel, we take the reaction format, we break it down, we have fun, we talk a lot about vocal technique, so I do pause a lot. If you don't want to watch a reaction video where the song is paused frequently to talk about observations, this is the wrong video for you, just letting you know. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot and it does help the channel. And we do have an extremely active Discord server that's accessible through our Patreon. You can check it out, help us make more videos per week, and even vote or nominate and vote on a video once per month for me to react to of your choosing. We also have weekly events on Friday nights, bi-weekly events specifically aimed at vocalists. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people from all around the globe on that Discord channel. Check it out. Now, I know they say not to make assumptions, but I am going to assume that this song is a little bit out of my element, a little bit out of my wheelhouse, probably more poppy, more rocky than I normally do. So that means I might be a little less on the demonstration. I usually do a lot of vocals in my videos. So this one's going to be a lot more observational, I assume, but hey, maybe not. We'll see. But without further ado, DiE4u, Bring Me the Horizon. Let's go. That's a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
Що ми знову тут робимо?
Бізнес.
No, I don't like that. Not a good idea.
Це приватна вечірка.
Я до Фрама, він мене чекає.
That's the symbol on the door. So, y'all, now this isn't vocal coach stuff, but just general life rule. If you see a door with a bloody symbol on it, don't go in there. Generally bad idea. If you try to enter a door and there's some really tough looking dude speaking what sounds to me Russian, and he says it's a private party, just turn around, say, okay, no, you got it, no problem. Interesting that the symbol on the wrist is the same symbol on the door, though. Fancy. Let's keep going. Ah, okay.
You know that I died for, I cried for. You know that I died for you. You know that I grieve for, I bleed for. You know that I grieve for you. Let me see my halo, even though it's painful. I'm prepared to lose. You know that I died for, I cried for. You know that I died for.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of a transition here. I told you I pause a lot. Get ready. So a couple things. Yeah, number one, definitely a bit out of my wheelhouse stylistically speaking, but there are a couple of really interesting things I noticed. First and foremost, on his clean singing, I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, and I don't know if he did it intentionally or unintentionally. It doesn't sound bad by any means, but his B noises, it's called a bilabial plosive. The bilabial plosive, sound, or p sound, he was like rolling his B's, right? He said, you know that I'd bleed, I think was the lyric, bleed, bleed, bleed. Like, what was that about? You know, I'd bleed for you. Never heard somebody do that intentionally. So that's kind of fascinating. Clean voice, very even, very consistent. Definitely some auto-tune on there. I'm not making that as a bad call out at all. I have used auto-tune and vocoder in our music because it just sometimes has a neat effect. So not calling anybody out at all for that. But interesting. I do want to hear that scream one more time. Let's just kind of go back and hear that again. Listen to those bilabial plosives. That's really fascinating. I don't know why you would do that. It doesn't sound bad. It's just really interesting to me. Then we're going to talk about his scream, and then we're going to just kind of keep going. Let's go back. Let's go back. Maybe. Yeah, that looks about right. I love the intro. I don't know how they do the effect, but it kind of sounds like that sort of noise. I'm sure he's not doing that. I'm sure it's some sort of production. Really cool. Very much a contrast. We had like, you know, Blade in 2021, the movie sort of vibes, and now we're doing like a very anthemic sort of poppy song. Big contrast, not what I expected, but not bad. Not bad.
You know that I died for, I cried for. You know that I died for you. You know that I grieve for, I bleed for. You know that I grieve for you. Let me see my halo, even though it's painful. I'm prepared to lose. You know that I die for, I'd cry for. You know that I die for. I keep holding my breath for a miracle, hoping that hole in my heart would heal somehow. Feeling so fucking close to the edge right now. You know you're everything I hate. I wish I could escape, but you know I would die for you.
Okay, let's take a pause there. So yeah, a couple things. We'll talk about the cleans first again. So one thing that I think is kind of cool is the way that he's letting his voice break and crack when he enters new phrases, especially on slightly higher notes, right? He doesn't just hit the note right on. Of course, you know, he certainly could do that. He gives it kind of a as he leads into the section, which is really, really fascinating. Somewhat of a common technique, at least from what I have heard of more pop inspired vocalizations, but you even hear it in bands such as Leprous, right? Which is far less poppy in my opinion. But that allowance of the vocal break, that allowance of the vocal transition to shine through, to sort of let us get a little bit more of a nuanced onset. Now, for his screams, which this is a little bit more my territory, what he's essentially doing, now there are a couple layers, but I feel like it's pretty straightforward. What he's doing here is he essentially is taking his voice and he's belting in an extremely high placement. Now, one thing that we can do to sort of achieve this is we can first, and I mean this very seriously, focus on our clean singing voice. There are times when we will hear a harsh vocalization, be it a scream or like, you know, a more low growl or something like that, and we will automatically assume that if we can make the noise, that means we're ready to make the noise. That's not necessarily true all of the time. When we are belting, and belting is kind of a slippery term. People tend to use it in different ways. For me, when I talk about belting, I simply mean utilizing your breath support and your resonance space to achieve large amounts of volume and steady projection without placing the work on your throat, right? And volume shouldn't be your main goal, by the way. Resonance should be your main goal, and then volume will be a happy byproduct. That's my opinion. Some people disagree, some people agree. That's how I think of it. So he's got this like very sort of, I'm going to say this, and I mean this in a good way, frat boyish scream, right? So like the very stereotypical party guy, you know, sound. I'm going to step back from my mic here. This sort of like, hey, whoa, what's up, guys? What's going on? Yeah, hey, right? I know that sounds super silly on its own. Most metal vocals sound really dumb when you pick them apart. Then he's got essentially a high-placed distortion. A lot of people would call this a fry vocal. When in Rome, if you want to call it a fry vocal, you're not going to get an argument from me. I think about it as something being something very different, because when we do this, we want all of the distortion off of the vocal folds. When I think of a fry vocal, what I'm thinking more is like Dan Watson, or especially like early Infinite Annihilator, or Fit for a King, right? Where we're creating that really quiet, like croaky, oh, sound, and then projecting that, but it's not really ever going to be much louder than like a well-projected speaking voice, right? This, to my ear and to my sensation, is a very different vocal style, we're getting a lot of a sort of rattling of the arytenoid cartilages, the aryepiglottic folds, very different from the way that we would do it if we were a deathcore vocalist doing a low. But you can kind of find this. One way you can find this is from like sort of the old school sigh. Hey, nay, hey. And when you put these two together, now bearing in mind, again, this is not my style of metal vocals that I have spent the past 11 years working on as he has. But essentially, when you put these together, you get like the, hey, 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 I die for you, right? And as you put them together, it starts to sound, it gets more of this like, you know, pop rock or hardcore vibe that can really be augmented by the delivery. Now, his is very tightened up, and I don't mean tightened as in his muscles are tight. I mean, the sound of the distortion is very consistent. It's got like a TV static vibe versus like a percolating pasta sauce vibe. Let's keep going though, because I'm sure that we're going to hear more. I want to go back a little bit. Let's go here. I'll talk about that later.
Keep holding my breath for America. Hoping that hole in my heart would heal somehow. Feeling so fucking close to the edge right now.
Nice.
You know you're everything I hate. I wish I could escape, but you know I would die for you. You know that I'd die for, I'd cry for. You know that I'd die for you. You know that I breathe for, I'd live for. You know that I breathe for you. Let me see my halo, even though it's painful. I'm prepared to lose. You know that I'd die for, I'd cry for. You know that I'd die for you. 'Cause I'm dead inside.
So it sounds like we have a transition here. So another thing that I'm really liking about his singing is it's sounding very easy no matter where he's at. So what I mean by this is there are certain sections where he's very relaxed and very quiet and almost kind of breathy. Right, I don't remember the melody. Yeah, he's kind of got like that sort of relaxed, oh yeah, type of vibe, right? He's got a little bit more of that. And then other times he's you know, approaching a more fully projected kind of belty voice a little bit. It sounds very natural for him, and I know that he's had some vocal issues in the past, so I don't follow Bring Me the Horizon very, very closely, although the songs I hear, I do like. And to me, this is sounding much more healthy, so I'm not sure what's happened since the injury in the past and now, but it seems like a lot of good stuff has happened. I don't know if he got with the coach or something like that. If you know, let me in the comments below. But one thing that he's doing is he's making his higher notes sound as consistent and sound as comfortable as his chest voice. Some people would call this a mixed voice. Again, another slippery term. Whenever you're vocalizing, you have a mix of resonance going on all the time. Different parts of your body are resonating. So sometimes I hesitate to use the term mixed voice because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But if you are trying to achieve you know, singing in a higher pitch in a way that's comfortable to you, a couple pieces of advice to think of. Number one, don't push for your ideal note, right? Don't, like, if your goal is a C5, like I want to belt a full voiced C5, don't start there. Your muscles are going to be more than likely squeezing way too hard. You're going to have to resist a little bit of airflow as you go a little bit higher. And so your muscles need to build strength to be able to resist that airflow. And then finally, you know, there will be a point where you'll reach the top of your voice. You'll reach kind of as far as it can go. And if you automatically shoot there without knowing where that place is, it's kind of like, you know, cliff diving without, you know, knowing how deep the water is. It's a very risky game. Now, that being said, what you can do is you can find your vocal break. You can find where your voice wants to naturally crack. So for me and most other people with vocal folds that are the same size and shape and width and all of that as my vocal folds, it's probably going to be at an F4 or an F sharp 4, G4, somewhere around there, somewhere around that section of the fourth octave. Now, it can change a little bit if you've got like allergies or if you're like singing right after you wake up, but it's pretty consistent. And what I mean by the voice break to anybody who may be unaware is that spot where your voice cracks. Hey, do you want to go to the prom with me? or you're singing, hey, you've got a C4, and then you bring that C4 up. I'm going to do it intentionally. Hey, you've got, hear that? That's going to be your vocal break. So you can kind of make just below that your target. Now, a really simple technique to do this, and by the way, when I say this, you really should be thinking, I'm going to do this once I'm more comfortable. I'm going to do this once I've got the basics of singing down. But you can use what's called a perfect fifth, I believe. I'm using that term correctly. A perfect fifth to sort of slide up to glissando up to the note. And it's really quite simple to find a perfect fifth. You just, so for example, if I was looking for hitting an F sharp 4, because that's like right where my break sits, to be a little bit more comfortable, I would start at a B3. My normal keyboard is broken, by the way, so I'm having to use a little phone app. Hopefully you can hear it. But I'm going to hit a B3. I'm going to go up 7 notes, 7 semitones. There you go. Sounds like the beginning of Toxicity by System of a Down. But what you can do is you can sing that B3, oh yeah, right there. And before you go for the higher note, think about how that B3 or whatever note you're using, what does that feel like in your body? What is the sensation? How does it feel to support that note? How does it feel in your face? Is your throat relaxed? So once you've kind of got a good idea, oh, right there, yeah. Very relaxed, very calm. I'm using everything I've learned about breath support. I'm holding those ribs open. I'm maintaining my my inhaled posture. You'll listen to that jump a little bit. Bum, 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 bum. Then you'll try to carry that sensation up to the note you're reaching for. This may cause you to tighten up and squeeze the note out, but if you're carrying the sensation and you're thinking about downward support and opening the mouth to create resonance space, it's going to be easier for you to hit, right? So, he-oh, there's our note. He-oh, whoa. That's an F sharp 4. He-oh, whoa, yeah, yeah, right. And you'll get more comfortable with it as time goes on. Anyway, he sings a lot of high notes, and I wanted people to have context on high notes. Let's go back a little bit, and we'll listen to a little bit more uninterrupted. Let's go to 225, because why not?
You know that I died for, I'd cry for, you know that I died for you. You know that I breathe for, I'd bleed for, you know that I breathe for you. Let me see my halo, even though it's painful, I'm prepared to lose. You know that I died for, I'd cry for, you know that I died for you. 'Cause I'm dead inside, 1,000 times.
Oh, nice.
Feel like I kill myself for you. 'Cause the truth I miss, you can slit my wrist, and I'd write your name in a heart with a hemorrhage. Got me so fucking close to the edge right now. You know it's you I need to pick, and then you feel like shit, and I don't wanna die for you. Die for you. You know that I died for, I'd cry for, you know that I died for you. You know that I breathe for, I'd bleed for, you know that I breathe for you. Let me see my halo, even though it's painful, I'm prepared to lose. You know that I died for, I'd cry for, you know that I died for you.
What? All right, so I'll be real. I don't know what's going on in this video. I really like this video, but it is confusing me. Like the song, the lyrical content sounds like maybe not, but the song is really positive, very anthemic. It reminds me very much of a song that we would have gotten down to at the club in college. Yes, I visited the club as a college guy. Maybe hard to believe. But that's the song that would come on and everybody would like stand up and like, this is the song that everybody would cheer and hold their drinks in the air and everybody feels good and it's just all good vibes all around. That's very much what this song is hitting me as. Like I'm getting kind of nostalgic in a weird way. And I'm like, Maloney's, Flagstaff, before it got weird. Good Times, Green Room, Flagstaff. It was always weird. But anyway, so there was a lot more screaming here. And I'm going to keep this kind of brief because it's clear that something very whatever is going to happen in the video. I want to talk about something, and this is actually really important. And I've been thinking about this for a while and the best way to word it. But I want to give some context. This may be a little controversial. I want to give a little context to what we mean or what we should mean when we say that a vocal style is safe. Oftentimes, people hear the word safe and they hear that as free of risk. That is not the right way to think of safe when we think of metal vocals, okay? Any type of distorted vocal does come with a risk. Now, we should not be afraid of that risk. We should not let that risk tighten up our muscles or cause us to hold back, right? Because if you've ever run to the end of a diving board and, chickened out at the last second, you lose your balance and you belly flop, whack, and that's when you get injured. But when we're talking about safe, we really need to understand that vocals such as these need to be treated with a level of respect, right? Imagine, say for example, you're a professional deadlifter and you can lift a crazy amount of weights, right? I think I've used this analogy before. Your technique is perfect. Your training, immaculate. You've been doing this for 10 years. You are very safe to be practicing these things. However, your technique, no matter how good it is not going to let you do it nonstop for hours and hours and hours on end. Your muscles have an area, have a point where they cap out, right? The human voice is a very powerful yet fragile device. And anytime we are taking a vocal style that utilizes clean tones along with distortion, even though those sounds can actually be easier to produce as far as getting the sound itself, in my opinion, you really should have a very strong understanding of your vocal anatomy, what it feels like to support your voice, how downward pressure relates to upward projected tones. The reason for this is because if you are putting your distortion on your vocal folds and then pushing, worst case scenario, you're going to hurt yourself pretty quick. Best case scenario, things will feel fine, but potentially down the road, your voice will start to change in quality. High notes will be harder to hit. You could be training the muscles that control the vocal folds to overexert themselves, and you can get certain vocal anomalies where it sounds like your vocal folds aren't closing right. So I'm not telling you all of this to say don't do metal vocals. Heck, I would be out of a job if people didn't want to do metal vocals. But what I am saying is that when we think of safe metal vocals, we have to think that safety is contingent on the fact that we are utilizing good vocal hygiene. We are resting. We are giving ourselves time to wake up in the morning. We're not smoking a bunch of cigarettes or weed, or I'm not anti-weed, but smoke is dry. I'm sorry. Or even vaping, chugging a bunch of beers and then going on stage, right? You're asking for it at that point. So if you have good training, and some people can train themselves their own. I'm not saying you have to have a vocal coach, although it helps. If you have good training, if you have good technique, if you have good vocal hygiene, and you treat these vocals with respect, not overusing them nonstop, right? Play your set, relax, then you'll be fine. Now let's go back and see what the heck is happening here. Uh-oh.
Сучий потрох!
Oh, yes, the old point and shoot. Look at that, the old point and shoot.
This isn't love.
Beautiful, anthemic, blonde women laughing as they stab people. Now, listen, when it comes to the old point and shoot, proven fact, scientific fact, makes the bullets go faster. Trust me, I'm an American. I know about this, okay? If you draw your weapon and you're aiming and you point and shoot like this, your bullet's gonna get there faster. So if you're shooting at each other, like your bullet, your bullet will hit them first. So draw, point and shoot, pivot, point, right? None of that is true at all. Don't believe a word that I said about that. But the point and shoot, Hollywood classic.
This isn't love, this is a car crash. This isn't love, this is a bloodbath. This isn't love, this is a sentence. It's a bullet in the head. This isn't love, this is a car crash. This isn't love, this is a bloodbath. This isn't love, this is a sentence. It's a bullet in the head. So pull the trigger.
Hey, that was awesome. We actually could hear what sounded like a pretty dry, pretty raw scream in the back. And that kind of confirms what I was thinking, right? It's a very high, very relaxed sort of party boy distortion or vocal style. You know that I die for you! You know that I die for you! Right? And you put the distortion on there and there you go. So that's that. I want to talk about something here. He did a really cool change in timbre that I want to exemplify. Let me find it here real quick. Yeah. Okay, so he's gonna start here, and he's singing in his chest voice, very comfortable, right? I'm just kind of dicking around, but he's almost speaking as he talks, and he's got just kind of it sounds great, but a very steady standard tone. No bells and whistles, right? Then as the song changes, he gets brighter and maskier. He gets a little bit more of that pop vibe on there, and it helps transition the song. And I just thought it was kind of cool. Check it out.
This isn't love, this is a car crash. This isn't love, this is a bloodbath. This isn't love, this is a sentence. It's a bullet in the head. This isn't love, this is a car crash. This isn't love, this is a bloodbath. This isn't love, this is a sentence. It's a bullet in the head. So pull the trigger.
Super cool. Super cool. All right. Is that it? Oh, yeah. All right. So, that was a video. Now, listen, being like a death metal, deathcore, doom, black metal, whatever kind of guy, I've seen my share of gory videos. So it wasn't necessarily that surprised me, but it was just the weird, like, and I mean weird but good, juxtaposition between, like, you know, we're all partying, we're all having a good time. This is like the feel-good song of the year. Also, like, throats getting ripped out and people getting shot. Contrast can be fun. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but every step of the moment, I was like, I don't really know what to expect here. Very fun to talk about vocally, because again, this is outside of what I normally do. And certainly outside of what I do in my music. But things I liked about Oliver Ollie Sykes's performance here. Number one, vocals sounded overall pretty safe and pretty healthy in the context of how we use those words, like I mentioned before. Very well supported. I love the change of timbre. I love the change of voicing that he's using. He does a good job moving between a breathier, looser tone and a more connected, forward, supported tone. Basically going from like a soft voice to like a more full voice sound. Yeah, and overall it was a pretty good song. I liked it. I dug it. That's all I really know how to say about it. But great job. Looking forward to any more music that's coming out from these dudes. And beyond that, thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if you have any context. Let me know if you know what was happening with that vampire who was like tripping out, going crazy, the bald one. Let me know what was going on there, because he was having a hard time or a good time. I couldn't really tell. But like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Check us out on Patreon. For some reason, I'm not sure how to end this video, so let's just end it. Many thanks, much love, I'm out.